What's going on, everyone? Welcome. And today, I want to talk about, I'll at least give my little 2 cents on the full interview slash press conference for the partnership deal of the NFL and Rocnation slash Jay-Z. Okay? Now, there's already been talk and controversy over the meeting as a whole, and especially over the few edited clips that have been shown throughout social media since this deal was first announced. And having seen the entire, it's almost, it's like a 40 plus minute um, interview slash press conference, or about over 40 minutes of footage of what was happening, in which Roger Goodell and Jay-Z sat down and had a conversation, an interview, press conference amongst different people from different media outlets. You saw Charlamagne the God, you saw Angie Martinez, people and others. And I must say, having now seen the entire interview, or the majority of the interview of what was shown, my opinion, which doesn't count for much, just give my own 2 cents, but my opinion hasn't really changed much. I was always for the partnership, as I also stated, I'm also for Colin Kaepernick. Okay? And watching this video hasn't deterred me at all. In fact, now that I have more context to what was said in the clips, instead of getting like those soundbite clips, and now I have the before and the after of those clips, so I can get full context as to what was said. And I was for the partnership then, and I'm for the partnership now. And I'm for Colin Kaepernick then, and I'm for Colin Kaepernick now. From what I gathered, to me, it seemed as if Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, that rhymed, was catching more of the hot button questions. Okay? Now this is what I did. Now this is what I've noticed, my perspective. I felt as if Jay-Z was more comfortable than Roger Goodell with some of the questions. I felt that Jay-Z spoke honest. He didn't say anything, or he didn't act in a way that was different from any other time I've seen him on, in other interviews. He seemed comfortable. Jay-Z seemed very, very comfortable in that situation. Like, regardless of what questions were asked to him, he seemed very, very comfortable. He seemed sure. He seemed genuine in his answers. And when I noticed that, I said, okay, he seems to be the one that is cool with all this. When Roger Goodell was asked the questions, there were some moments where he felt comfortable, and there were some moments where he felt a little bit apprehensive. Like you can almost kind of see that when the heat came on Roger Goodell, some of the questions, hit a little different for Roger Goodell, especially when Charlamagne the God of the Breakfast Club asked him, why doesn't Colin Kaepernick have a job? And Roger Goodell, he answered He answered the question, but excuse me, sorry. It seemed as if he didn't want to answer the question. And when Jay-Z was asked the question, Oy. When Jay-Z was asked questions, it seemed as if he wanted to answer the questions. And the only time I can see where Jay-Z got, I won't say flustered, but annoyed, was the famous viral clip of when they asked him, when his response to the question was, I think we're past kneeling. That clip, and seeing the before and the after of that clip, and not just that 60-second clip, I can see why he was frustrated. For my opinion, he was frustrated because he is of the mindset of, well, I'll play this. I don't think he was saying, no, forget kneeling. Forget what Colin Kaepernick did. The point of it was, why are we still focusing on the method of protest and not what that method can produce? Why are we still talking about kneeling when the kneeling is not the goal? The goal is to bring attention and awareness to social injustice. But it seems as if people say, okay, well, we're going to focus on the kneeling and not why they were kneeling. And I think when he shook his head, when he did that move like this before he answered, to me that said, wow, people are missing the point. Like we still missing the point. Because I've done that. And I know people have done that too. When someone keeps going over the same subject over and over and over again, yet no one else is mentioning, okay, what happens afterwards, and then someone else says, well, what about this thing? And you get to the point where you get to the point like, hold on, like we still, like, really? We're still talking about this? We're still talking about, play this. All right, here you go. You ever had an argument with your significant other, and the conversation is about, let's say the conversation is about taking out the trash, right? Taking out the trash. Guys know what I'm talking about when I say this. They say the conversation is about taking out the trash, and your significant other is saying, you always leaving the trash in the kitchen and all that stuff. You never take the trash out. And then y'all had a conversation, and all of a sudden, your partner brings up something about you forgot their birthday. It went from trash to birthday, and you get that face like, wait, what? Huh? Birthday? What? You still mad about the birthday thing? Like, that was 5 years ago. You're still mad about the birthday? I thought we talking about trash. And we talking about birthday? Like that face like that? What? Like we still talking about kneeling? Well, what about the actual subject of why he knelt? That's where that face came from. I know that face that Jay-Z made when he said we're past kneeling. That's the same face you make when you're having a conversation or an argument with your significant other about one subject, and they bring up a whole different subject that has nothing to do with what you're talking about, because you thought that that subject was done with years ago or months ago, and they bring it back up in a new conversation that got nothing to do with it. You get that same face like that. What? Huh? Wait. I thought we were past the birthday. Wait. I thought we were past the kneeling. Now, what are we going? Now, what are we talking about now? Are we still on the kneeling, or are we still? Are we talking about the reason why Colin Kaepernick took a knee? What's the subject? Because I'm of the mind. Because I'm thinking like, he was of the mind. In the me, he was of the mindset of, okay, he took the knee. Other players took the knee also. Brought awareness to social injustice. Okay, now we are all aware of social injustice. Now, what do we do next? And that was his response. Now, a lot of times when people make comments out of just like the first thing come out their mouth, when people get upset, they say it's not what you say, it's how you say it. No one disagrees with what he said. Well, many don't disagree with what he said. They disagree with how he said it. It came off brash. It came off abrasive. That's actually what got people upset. Is how it came out, how it sounded. Because, like, okay, kneeling was a way to bring attention. Kneeling wasn't the goal. Kneeling was a sign, a signal, a roadmap to the subject, to the destination. But we're stuck on the signal, the roadmap, the sign, rather than the destination. And he, in a slight moment of frustration, came out with, I think we're past kneeling. Now that I see the before and the after clips of that particular scene, that particular moment, I understand what he meant. And I think it was very smart for Jay-Z to have the press conference on his grounds, on his turf. Very smart of that. Because remember, the NFL called him. The NFL called him to set this meeting up. So he probably said, okay, well, if you calling me, we're going to have it here at Rocnation. That way I feel comfortable and it won't seem like I'm coming to the NFL, because if I'm at like the NFL headquarters, wherever that is, it's going to seem like, oh, he came to the NFL to do a partnership. But NFL wanted to do a partnership with Rocnation, Jay-Z, so they came to him, giving him the visual power that they came to me. I say no to the Super Bowl. You need me, I don't need you. So you call me, and let's say you call me, you come see me. You want to talk to me, you come see me and talk. And you're going to come to where I feel comfortable. And that's in his office, Rocnation. Right? Keep that in mind. The media outlets, all right? The media outlets, they weren't really targeting Jay-Z. They were actually targeting Roger Goodell. Really, they wanted him to answer for why Colin Kaepernick doesn't have a job. Because if you notice, every time they asked Roger Goodell a question, Jay-Z backed up. Because they were sitting side by side in the chairs, right? It was the two of them, and they were surrounded by people from the media and others. They were actually surrounded. They were sitting at a table and they were surrounded, which means they can get a question from 360 degrees. Wherever they were, they can get a question from any one of those places. From behind them, from the side, left, right, all that. They were surrounded. That wasn't done by accident. That was not done on accident. Jay-Z and Roger Goodell got put in a media coliseum, and they were able to be bombarded with questions and comments and thoughts and concerns. Okay? Whenever Jay-Z spoke, he sat up. Or whenever he spoke, he actually sat back. He was relaxed. When he wanted to make a point, when he wanted to drive a point home, he sat up in his seat. Okay? He sat up in his seat. When he spoke clearly. He spoke clearly. He looked at the people that were asking the questions. Asking the questions. Whenever Roger Goodell spoke, Jay-Z sat back. You notice that? Whenever they asked the question to Roger Goodell, Jay-Z sat back. And he looked at the person who asked the question, and he looked at Roger Goodell. Right? And he would just sit back and wait. Whenever it got back to Jay-Z, he found the person that asked the question and kept an eye on them. He kept the eye on them. Whoever Jay-Z was talking to, he kept the eye on them. When Roger Goodell spoke, sometimes he kept it on them, sometimes he moved his head around. Okay? Jay-Z addressed the person that asked the question. So whoever it was, I'm looking at you, I'm asking the question. And he made, whenever Jay-Z wanted to make a point, like he said, to be clear, for the room, he sat up. Notice that. He said, so just to be clear, for the room, when he made the comment about the Colin Kaepernick past kneeling, when he said to be clear, he sat up. When he said we're past kneeling, he sat up. Like whenever he was driving the point home, whenever he was adamant about something, he sat up quickly sat up. And when he was just talking, just to talk, just like to get a point across, or just to dialogue back and forth, he was relaxed. When he wanted to make a point, he sat up. That was his body language that I noticed. That Jay-Z, I know for a fact, well, I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure he made it a point to say, okay, we're going to have this where I'm comfortable. Because had he had that press conference at the NFL headquarters, wherever they do their meetings, the questions were going to be asked and answered a little differently, I think. And it was going to be perceived differently in the media when if they would say, okay, Jay-Z meets up with the NFL, instead of saying the NFL met up with Jay-Z Rocnation. Read the headlines too, because they did meet up with Jay-Z Rocnation. They went to where he is, not the other way around. It's a partnership, but the power is also being played in where you meet. It wasn't a neutral ground. It's not neutral ground. Neutral ground would be where Jay-Z and Roger Goodell, feel equally comfortable or uncomfortable. They met where Jay-Z felt comfortable. That's not a mistake. Watch the video. That's not a mistake. Watch how they both were sitting. Watch how they both were sitting when they asked the questions. Right? Look who asked the questions, and look how both of them responded to the questions. To me, Jay-Z felt way more comfortable than Roger Goodell. That's just my opinion. It may be a partnership, but it's not equal. Jay-Z felt way more comfortable. He sounded like Sean Carter Jay-Z. He was so comfortable. He was saying, I don't knock him, hope they don't knock me. Everybody in the room knew what that meant. I hope they don't knock them. He was using his vernacular. He was speaking comfortably. He wasn't saying things that he normally wouldn't say. When they asked him, well, why you have Adam Levine as opposed to Travis Scott? He answered that question honestly. He said, look, we spoke about it. Before he said what he said, he made it a point to tell Roger Goodell and others that were part of him, like, look, I gotta be honest. I gotta let him know I'm just being honest. So sorry for hurt your feelings, but he asked me a question, I'm gonna answer it. And he answered the question as to why he said no to Super Bowl. He said Travis Scott had the biggest album of the year, yet on the Super Bowl stage it had an M there. He said there's no way a person has an album that big, he should be second to anybody. He said it blunt. He said he made it a point to mention hip hop. He said hip hop has been the number one genre for the past 15 years. It's just now the numbers have gotten too big where you can't ignore it. He said, but for 15 years, since 98, I think he said 98, something like that. He said, it's been that way. We've been the number one. We've been number one for the longest time. It's just now you can't ignore it. He made it a point to mention that. He made it a point to mention hip hop. He said it. He said Travis Scott should have been over Adam Levine, and it ain't even close. He said Travis Scott deserved he deserved his own stage for that year. That he had the biggest album of that year. There's no way he should be playing second to anybody. He said that. He said it privately to the Roger Goodell and them, and he mentioned it. He made it public. So Jay-Z felt very, very comfortable. Really, really comfortable. And that shows me something. So overall, like I said, it didn't change anything either way. My thoughts on it then are the same. My thoughts on it now. I enjoyed the interview. I enjoyed the questions. I enjoyed the fact that both of them got some hard hitting questions. Nobody held back. Nobody held back on Jay-Z. Nobody held back on Roger Goodell. I enjoyed the questions. I enjoyed the responses. Well, I enjoyed the responses for Jay-Z. I felt Roger Goodell doing a little bit of ducking. He was doing a little bit of tap dancing. I felt Jay-Z was very, very confident in his answers. He was very confident in his answers. And even when he got frustrated, or even when he's making a point, he still sounded very confident in his answers. So those things I noticed. That's my little take on the full interview. The full interview, you can watch it on Rocnation, the YouTube channel Rocnation, all that stuff. So thank you all for listening. I'll catch you all later. Peace.